आज ज्यादा लोगों को हम लेंगे नहीं. Let me just post. We've just joined in. Hey Rohit. Um, we just. Okay. Okay. Let's start. Uh, okay, बाकी लोग भी धीरे धीरे आएंगे. So first of all, thanks a lot, Kulmani sir, Saurabh sir, for joining in again. Saloni is also with us. Rishabh will also be hopefully a silent spectator. We're also streaming live on YouTube right now. So in case anybody who wants to participate, there's a Zoom link which is there in the description. And if you people just want to watch on YouTube, that's fine. I'll just kick off the event and people will hopefully continue joining in. I will give me a minute. तो आई थिंक कुलमणि सर सौरभ सर थोड़ा सा आप लोग मतलब before the call for all the new people who are joining in. I think Harsh is also joining. Hey Harsh, very long time. So Harsh is also one of our members since our Discord days, if I remember. uh hey Harsh, what's up?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing now?
I'm doing very very well, yeah. Great to see you here
Yeah,
after a very long time.
yeah, yeah. After a long time, like, I have joined. Yeah,
What are you up to
last time I have
nowadays?
joined. Yeah, so
हाँ, बोलो बोलो, sorry.
uh, during Discord time, we were like connecting weekly, like for
Yes,
all the
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we are new format. I mean, old wine in a new bottle. I think
yeah,
the discussions and what we used to talk about. I always wanted to restart that, but I think the platform changes which happened with the community, that kind of
yeah,
uh, give, a lot of
yeah,
other things also happened. We had a lot of different priorities at that point of time. What are you up to nowadays, Harsh? What are you up to? What are you doing?
yeah. Currently, we are working on Metaverse. Like,
Okay,
we are building products for medical students.
okay,
Like during final year, they have to practice on real body for different cases,
yeah.
and we are creating like virtual body for different cases to perform virtual surgeries.
Oh, interesting. So what are you guys
Yeah,
doing in this? Acha, in the metaverse.
yeah,
Very interesting. Simulation, huh? For medical,
yeah.
interesting. What stage are you guys in now?
Currently, we are building contents like we are on
Acha.
prototype.
Of
Yeah,
course. अच्छा तो अभी आप लोग you're getting your content library right.
yeah.
Any partnerships that you people have done?
Currently, we have engaged with AIMS Patna.
अच्छा.
They are helping us to create content, and they are verifying our contents.
हाँ, नहीं नहीं ये बहुत जरूरी है यार जो आप कर रहे हो ना इसमें.
Mm.
The quality of content is the meat. There is nothing else. जितना ज्यादा
Yeah.
robust बनेगा उतना अच्छा. Very interesting यार. Glad to hear this.
Mhm.
And it's a very
Yeah.
interesting industry also. This is something
Yeah.
which will never go out of practice. ये proper educational content में घुस
That's
गया ना आप फिर.
mhm.
Good, good. All the best,
Yeah,
Harsh.
Thank you.
Yeah. एक बार आकाश को भी मैं पिंग कर देता हूँ in case he will join in. अच्छा, that reminds me, Kulmani sir, Saurabh sir, in case any other guys like Saurabh sir, you brought in Kulmani. Kulmani, अगर आपको भी any other people also whom you think would contribute a lot to the discussion, please bring them in. हम लोग अभी we have kind of changed the format a little bit. Earlier we used to put out Luma links and all, but अभी हम लोग एक calendar invite ही बना दिया है, which will have a recurring calendar. Anybody who you want to bring in, we'll send them a calendar invite, and in case anybody who wants to join in regularly, they'll just get added in, क्योंकि हर बार registration does not make sense. And I think the focus more has now shifted to the quality of conversations that we do, and hence we'll probably be getting in fewer people for the Zoom call, but then we'll redirect the audience of people who want to listen in to the YouTube live. And we have now started cutting down the discussion clips as well. So that ways, I think the discussions that we have, we can always go back, and the shelf life of the discussion will also be a little bit longer. With that, I'll just share my screen and we'll just begin, because I think we've already it's 10 minutes now. Let me just share my screen and we shall begin. And for all the people on YouTube, thanks a lot for joining in. I will share my screen now. Mm-mm-mm. Yep, hopefully my screen is visible. कुलमणि सर, if possible, आप अपना ना वीडियो ऑन कर लेना. हाँ, because ये वीडियो भी हम कैप्चर करते हैं when we are uh,
Yeah, yeah. I was just
shooting.
moving between meeting rooms, so that's why I
कर
was.
लो सर आप.
Uh,
मैं तब तक
no,
वैसे
no.
भी.
I'm in my place now. I've reached my destination.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, welcome guys. Welcome to the sixth edition of the TBC Weekly Live. नाम हमारा हमेशा WIP रहता है. आकाश has also finally joined in. आकाश, आज hopefully आप अपना कैमरा ऑन रखोगे. ठीक है. So, I think before we start, I would like to introduce the regulars here. Saurabh sir basically is the uh, co-founder and partner at Angel Bay, which is one of the leading angel networks in India. They have done over 100 odd investments. They are sector agnostic, but I think इनकी अपनी thesis है, and I think that the Builders Club has also been passing on a few leads to them. Hopefully कुछ convert हो, हमारे club वालों का भी कुछ भला हो, and hopefully the quality of people and the quality of conversations that Saurabh sir gets here in the club helps in. Kulmani Rana is the co-founder of Fibonacci. You Fibonacci is basically is I investment banking बोलेंगे, I banking बोलेंगे, advisory बोलेंगे, consulting बोलेंगे. Kulmani sir, why don't you introduce yourself? I think that's much better, because दो तीन चीजें हैं
Yeah,
आप
yeah,
जो
yeah.
करते हैं.
Right, right. So we do three things. First is we run an accelerator program. We have cohort-based program, and then we have rolling over program where anybody can sign up. And then we define the scope where we are helping them. Second is we invest and fundraise. So now we are starting to invest also through our LP into some early stage companies. And third is we do value creation and formulate thesis for some of the investors, right? Could be HNIs, could be basically on the private market side. Anybody who wants to get into private markets and they need help on how should they look at a particular sector. So that's where we come in. So three part: accelerator, investing, fundraising, and then thesis formulation.
Thank you, Kulmani sir, for that. Saloni, the effervescent Saloni, she's our co-team member. She lives out of Bombay. She leads, in fact, the Bombay chapter, and काफी सारी चीजों में involved है, as she's the co-team member of the Builders Club. इसके अलावा I think Harsh has joined in. This is probably his one of the first TBC lives here. इनसे पहले मैं आकाश का introduction करना चाहूँगा. Akash, yeah, I mean, if we can get an introduction from you. अगर आप अवेलेबल हो या फिर निकल गए, पता नहीं मुझे। दिख नहीं रहे हो आप। हाँ, आकाश। अच्छा, तो मैं बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन दे देता हूँ, या और यू वांना गो?
You can maybe mention that.
अच्छा नहीं यार, आकाश फाइनेंस इकोसिस्टम में ऑपरेट करते हैं। आई थिंक मैं ही हैज बीन वन ऑफ द वेरी अर्ली मेंबर्स ऑफ द क्लब। ही हैज बीन वन ऑफ द वेरी अर्ली कंट्रीब्यूटिंग मेंबर्स ऑफ द क्लब। एंड आई रिमेंबर जो अर्लियर सेशंस हमारे न्यूज़ ऑफ द वीक के हुआ करते थे डिस्कॉर्ड टाइम में, उस टाइम भी वी वर रियली फैसिनेटेड विद द काइंड ऑफ पर्सपेक्टिव्स दैट ही यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग ऑन टू द टेबल। तो हमने जब री इनिशिएट किया, तो वी आई डेफिनेटली वांटेड आकाश इन। देयर आर वन और टू मोर पीपल, बट उनके लिए टाइम जोन्स का इशू होता है, बिकॉज कुछ लोग यूएस से ऑपरेट करते हैं और कुछ लोग रात को 10:30-11 बजे के बाद ही ऑपरेशनल होता है। अदरवाइज आकाश उस टाइम मास्टर कार्ड में काम करते थे। अभी कहाँ काम करते हो आकाश आप? वेयर डू यू वर्क?
So basically, I had the machine learning at a startup called Skype Jennings, which is valued at around 300 million times.
या, और साथ ही साथ आकाश कुछ अपना भी बना रहे हैं अभी। इफ यू वांट आकाश, probably later in the conversation, would love to know what you're building right now also, right?
No, sure.
ठीक है। और हर्ष ने अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दे ही दिया है। कुल has joined in. कुल is basically working for Entracker, and today आज he'll more be on a listening kind of a mode. With that, थोड़ा सा हम लोग अब बिल्डर्स क्लब के बारे में भी बात कर लेते हैं। और मुझसे पहले मैं एक बार आकाश को भी पिन कर देता हूँ, तो yes. So I'll just, for all of you guys who are listening in, and for the people here who probably have not visited the Builders Club landing page, we are a little bit more than a WhatsApp group. We are one of the largest entrepreneur-focused communities globally, with around 75,000 odd members. We're more focused towards community engagement and making sure that the builders in the community get the right kind of value. We have 7 odd city chapters. We do a lot of podcasts. We've done a lot of events, और हमारा investor network भी है, through which we help people raise funds. Um, ये मेरे ख्याल से थोड़ा पुराना वाला टेक है. Let me see. We can. Yeah. So कुछ जो थोड़ छोटे छोटे जो हमारे initiatives हैं, I wanted to throw a little bit of light before we jump in. One is of course the TBC Launchpad, wherein we help the founders within the community amplify their voice and get more, in case you're launching something, or in case you people are at an MVP stage and you're looking for the right go-to market. This is the track for you. You can go to nas.io/tbc, register. All the details are there. I'll not bore you with what you get and how you get it. In case you are in that stage, you can basically check it out there. We have a fundraising track through which we help you reach out to more investors. We don't charge anything from our side. We basically make the connects, but then we create enough opportunities for you to show yourself or showcase yourself in front of the right investors. We have TBC services, which is kind of a business concierge, one-stop solution for any kind of service provider request that you have. We have a curated network of partners with whom we work with, and we basically help you in basically anything, right from account opening करवानी है, accounting services चाहिए, legal services चाहिए, marketing services चाहिए, tech services चाहिए. We have everything under the sun. And we have TBC Prime, which is our Prime membership is very transactional, and we have kept it that way. uh, जितना पैसा दोगे उसका 10 गुना 100 गुना देंगे, तो बहुत ही ट्रांजैक्शनल है। पर्क्स हैं, आपको पार्टनर कोवर्किंग स्पेसेस का ऑप्शन का की ये मिलते हैं, के ऑप्शंस मिलते हैं, पार्टनर पर्क्स मिलते हैं आपको। पार्टनर पर्क्स में बस SaaS प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं है, अभी हम लाइफस्टाइल में भी घुस रहे हैं, तो इजी डाइनर इज ऑलरेडी अ पार्टनर। जल्द ही उबर के भी कूपन्स आपको मिलने लगेंगे, ओला उबर भी हो जाएंगे, होटल्स भी हो जाएंगे। सो एनीथिंग दैट अ फाउंडर माइट नीड इन देयर ओवरऑल लाइफ, हो सकता है शायद आगे चल करके नेटफ्लिक्स भी आ जाए। And for the people who are watching in, just for this episode, there's a special code only for 5 people, 75% discount, TWL5. If you're watching from YouTube, please do that. हमारा merch भी है, लिमिटेड एडिशन है। कुछ डिजाइन 6 डिजाइन है हमारे, गो चेक इट आउट। इस पे ज्यादा टाइम नहीं स्पेंड करेंगे हम, होपफुली आगे वाले एपिसोड में पहन के ही आऊं, तो आपको थोड़ा आसानी होगा उसको विजुअलाइज करने में। मार्केटिंग थोड़ी सी हमारी खराब होती है, बट होपफुली द वैल्यू दैट वी क्रिएट मेक्स अप फॉर इट। मूविंग ऑन। अच्छा, ये मर्च स्टोरी खुल गया, बट ठीक है, लेट्स जस्ट गो बैक। ओके, moving to what the show is about and what we cover. This is a weekly show that we do at the Builders Club, in which we basically discuss the news of the week, the startup news of the week, what has been happening in the startup ecosystem, and we get great people with great minds to come and discuss and battle it out amongst themselves, because every person has a different perspective. More often than not, we are in sync, but there are times when people have difference of opinions as well, and that is what we like to explore, because at the end of the day, a news is just a fact. The opinions basically make up the story, and what are the takeaways of those. So 4 basic sections होते हैं हमारे शो के। पहले तो एक छोटा सा मैं 5 मिनट लेता हूँ कि क्लब में क्या क्या हुआ। Second is we do a weekly book recommendation, one book a week. A book is the gateway to information and knowledge. They are your best friends, and we always believe every founder should make books as their best friends. We do one recommendation a week, and this book also becomes the giveaway, which is which we basically do at the end of every show. 2 copies of the book, which is the recommended book of the week, is given out to audiences, so you have to participate in the giveaway, and for that you'll have to wait till the end of the show. And then, of course, the main section is the startup news of the week, in which we basically discuss all the news stories. Moving quickly to the club updates, ज्यादा कुछ इस बार हुआ नहीं यार, ये थोड़ा सा पुराना न्यूज़ है। 14 दिसंबर, 7 दिन हो गए हैं ऑलमोस्ट अभी। लास्ट वेंसडे को हुआ था हमारा नोएडा मिक्सर। हमने पहला नोएडा में पहला मिक्सर किया, और आखिरी 2023 का। ये दोबारा से मैं ये बता दे रहा हूँ, बिकॉज आई थिंक सौरभ पीयूष had also come in, joined in for this, your partner. And we had a lot of interesting people who joined in, और 2024 का हमारा पूरा कैलेंडर भी रेडी है। Hopefully the first live which we do in 2024 will probably talk more about that. हमारे leaderboards on nas.io have been updated. So so we have a few leaderboards in our community, nas.io/tbc, in case you want to check them out, where we जो भी हमारे community में चीजें discuss होती हैं, हम सारी की सारी चीजें उनको collate करके हमारे dashboards पे डाल देते हैं. So all the people, so there's a hiring dashboard, there is a resources dashboard, there is a launchpad dashboard, and there is a deal flow pipeline. So I mean, as the name suggests, anybody who is hiring, or anybody who's looking to get hired and who has posted in the community, we have put it in the dashboard. In case you are looking for jobs, you should check out our hiring dashboard. Resources are the reports or any interesting stuff which has been shared in the community. We again collate them and put them in our resources dashboard. Launchpad are the companies which are launching, or at a stage where they are launching. And then there's the deal flow pipeline, which basically goes to investors, people who are a part of a fundraising track, people who are looking to raise funds in the community. They basically get a chance I mean, this basically goes out to all our investors. um, इसके अलावा मेरे ख्याल से क्लब में ज़्यादा कुछ हुआ नहीं है. वी वर कम्युनिटी पार्टनर्स फॉर D2C Insider Summit, which got concluded last Saturday. um, 30 से 40, I mean, this is one of the flagship events for D2C Insider. In fact, D2C ecosystem में D2C Insider has been operating fairly well, and you got to meet a lot of great founders and investors. So if you were a part of the D2C ecosystem, if you are a part of the D2C ecosystem and you were in Delhi and you missed out on this, don't worry. There is the next one which is happening in Mumbai, which is happening next month. उसमें भी, और उसके बाद बैंगलोर में भी है. So in case you people want to catch up with the D2C founders and investors, you should definitely be a part of this. Okay, so इसके बाद आता है हमारा next section, which is the book of the week. Right? So I think club updates is इसमें मेरे ख्याल से ज़्यादा कुछ in case anybody wants to double click or want any more information, please YouTube पे आप हमारे comment section में डाल दो. In case you're on Zoom, you can put it on chat and we'll probably reach back to that. Moving on to the next section, which is the book of the week. तो ये आज की किताब is actually one of the very interesting books which I've read, and one of the news stories is very much connected. One of our top stories is actually connected to this book, and I'll explain you why as well. So the book of the week is Influence. I don't know how many of you have read this book. Let me just see. I don't know how many of you have actually read this book. Um, एक minute. Yeah. So Influence is one of those books which basically explains you the psychology of persuasion. Basically, how to make people say yes. Right. So this is a book which is written by Robert Cialdini. Robert Cialdini is an American psychologist. He is a visiting professor at Stanford University where he teaches marketing, business, and psychology, and he himself is a professor of psychology and marketing at Arizona State University. Right. So he basically is the what do you call it? Is basically somebody who has studied people and who's a master and in this domain. So what do they cover in this book, right? So influence basically covers six principles of influence, right? So Cialdini outlines six key principles of influence in this. First one is reciprocity, which is making people feel obliged to return a favor. So once you make a favor, no matter how small it is, the person in front of you will always feel obliged to return it. A classic example is in case you people have gone for a meeting, and somebody, you, instead of just sitting and chatting with them, you go out and you get a glass of water, not just for yourself but also for the person in front. That small gesture is also influences the decision of whether the person will actually convert or not. These small things are tactics which salespeople use whenever you go. A car salesman is one of the most classic examples of a face-to-face conversion which happens, and one of the best use cases in case you people want to understand sales techniques. So reciprocity is one. Second is commitment and consistency. So once somebody commits to something, they are more likely to follow through. So if you give somebody something in written, or if you sign something on a piece of paper, automatically, subconsciously, you start associating with that behavior. I mean, इसके भी तरीके होते हैं. अगर knowingly unknowingly वाला एक ट्रैप होता है, but in case you have signed on something unknowingly, और ऐसे ही मजाक में भी अगर आपने कर दिया हो, invariably you will be more compelled to follow through with what you have signed up for, as in zyada time pe, unless and until you try to pull back yourself. That's a this thing. But in general, and the book basically talks about how Chinese prisons use these techniques, जहाँ पे वो आपसे लिखवाते हैं चीजें. They make you write an essay, they make you write a this thing, and show, मतलब वहां से फिर वो मैनिपुलेशन एंड मेक ब्रेन वॉशिंग की जो टेक्निक्स होती हैं, दिस बेसिकली स्टार्ट्स from these kind of behaviors. The third one, which they talk about in this book, is called social proof, which we in our digital ecosystem use as testimonials. People are influenced by what others are doing and others are saying. So testimonials is an example of social proof. Then there is authority. So people tend to follow the lead of credible, knowledgeable experts. Interesting bit is you don't need to be an authoritative figure. Even your uniform might actually make them change the decision or make them say yes. So if somebody is wearing a police uniform and he's not a policeman, even then you will follow what he is saying. Then comes liking. people prefer to say yes to those they know and like. So if you are, this is again one of those old sales tactics which you people might have heard ki you try to imitate the person in front of you. You try to become as similar as the person in front of you. So that basically helps you. So that's liking. And then there is scarcity, which is the less something is available, the more people want it. Auctions, so limited offer edition, only five left. This is very much used in the business ecosystem as well. So these are the six proofs. This is a very thick book, if you may see. So Kulmani, Saurabh sir, you people can see the video. I mean, you people can see me, right? हाँ, ठीक है. So ये
Yes,
बहुत मोटी
yes,
किताब
we
है,
can see you.
but in case you people don't want to finish a book, I don't know how many of you have a habit of finishing a book. So I usually whenever there are books of this size और intimidating अगर लगती है तो मैं ऑडियो बुक्स प्रेफर कर लेता हूँ, because 2-3 घंटे की जर्नी होती है नोएडा टू गुड़गांव, and whenever I do that, so I spend 2-3 hours listening, and this is a 10-hour का audio book which is available for free on YouTube. And in case you people want to pick it up, there are two copies that we are giving away in today's event as well. Saurabh sir, you wanted to say something?
I was just trying to figure out toggles.
Trying to figure out?
I was trying to figure out how to unmute using the keyboard.
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक है. नहीं, मुझे लगा आप कुछ बताना चाहते हो. So ये आज की किताब है. This is one of the really great books if you want to understand sales and if you want to understand how to get people to say yes. Um, Are there any books from you guys side? Anybody from you, Kulbhushan, Kulmani sir, Saurabh sir, which you people, Rishabh, which you people would want to, recommend to the audience? ये तो हमारी किताब की बात हो गई. आप लोगों की तरफ से कोई recommendation है?
Mhm. Which topic are we talking?
कोई
Generally,
सा भी सर. बिजनेस फाउंडर्स के लिए आपको कोई किताब, या फिर इन जनरल आपको
right?
कोई लगता है कोई किताब जो लोगों को पढ़नी चाहिए. देखो हमारी सबसे बड़ी गलती क्या होती है ना, हमें लगता है कि
Mm.
मतलब एक फाउंडर की जिंदगी बस काम है. ऐसा नहीं है. ठीक है. इट्स अ होलिस्टिक लाइफ, एवरीबॉडी नीड्स टू लीड. सो इन केस देयर आर एनी बुक्स व्हिच यू वुड रेकमेंड, इररेस्पेक्टिव है कोई भी जॉनर, आप बताओ.
So I mean, I have a huge collection. I generally don't read fiction, but I would recommend Market Cycles by Howard Marks, who's the
हाँ.
chairman of Oak Tree Capital. This is a very thin book. You can read it in 3 to 4 hours. It has probably 8 to 10 lessons about. So he has written two books which are important: Market Cycles and The Most Important Thing. So the most important thing is based on memos he has written from 80s till today. He takes the best lessons from all those memos, and so it's a very nice book. Both of them are probably 3 to 4 hours each. Not very thick like this, but like 300 pages, and written in a very sort of conversational manner. It's not an academic book, but it's very practical. Both of those books are very practical, and I think everybody who has or who wants to succeed in markets, investing, should read Market Cycles and The Most Important Thing. I think both
इंटरेस्टिंग.
books
आई
are
थिंक आई हैव
very,
हर्ड ऑफ द
yeah,
मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग.
yeah,
मैंने
yeah. It's a good book.
मैंने मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है, आई थिंक. या शायद पढ़ी है, मेरे पास पढ़ी होगी. नहीं, मेरे पास पढ़ी है द वन थिंग. इट्स नॉट द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग, इट्स द वन थिंग. सो मैं मिस कर गया. हाँ, कुलभूषण, एब्सोल्युटली.
Yeah, so speaking of books, one of the new books which has come like very recent and it's about Byju's, the learning trap, how the subject is how Byju's took Indian tech for a ride, and it's written by one of the journalists, Pradeep. And like read reviews of it, it's pretty interesting, and I think everybody is aware about how and what is transpiring at Byju's. So
Yeah,
it is going to be like if someone wants to get catch on like what is happening, wants to summarize, and actually have an analytical understanding. I think this book is worth it trying out. So I thought I would just point it out because it's very latest current. So something that people would like, and I think there will be like, सबको मजा आता है सब. It's very, the topic is very massaledar. So I am sure a lot of people, young people would love to know कि भैया हो क्या रहा है, and as a parent also I can say like it's something that I'll give you one anecdotal thing. Just I was stepping outside, after completing annual day function of my 7-year-old daughter, and the first thing I get was outside there are two young boys saying, "Hey, sir, आपका बच्चा कौन सी क्लास में पढ़ता है? This is our coaching. We give you free test and everything. And as a parent, you would always want them to be, always ahead. So this is like, so from a tech point of view, parenting, so Byju's is like very, very at the center of all these things. I thought this is something that people should explore this week if they want to have a like book for the week.
What's the name of the book?
I'll share the Amazon link. I'm not trying to plug it, but I'm just
अरे कोई नहीं सर,
pointing out.
बताओ तो बायजूस की किताब निकली है, जरूर हम
Yes, the learning trap.
द
How
लर्निंग
Byju's
ट्रैप.
took Indian edtech
गॉट
for a
इट.
ride. The learning trap, and it's very
Aptly
interestingly
named,
named.
huh? The learning trap. How Baju's took
Yeah.
Indian
So
EdTech to a ride.
the
Oh,
Gemini is something that people should do, like how's it, but seems pretty interesting, and if you go through the description of it, it's pretty interesting and intriguing for
ये
people.
पूरा राइज एंड फॉल को पूरा डॉक्यूमेंट किया है नहीं?
Yeah, and it's very, very current. So, especially for younger people who are interested, and especially for people who are operating in edtech. So, I think it's going to be a very, very important thing how Byju's things play out at Byju's. I am like, I have a very new, as a journalist, like, I have a very neutral point of view on it. But as an individual, as a parent, I also am like at the receiving end of all these things that transpired, especially post COVID, right? When digital education and all these things happened. So as a parent, I can see, and especially uh, like way back in my hometown in Patna, I could see that there are people who are actually interested, curious about, यार इसमें पढ़ने से हमारा बच्चा क्या तेज हो जाएगा types. So this is very, very something like very thought. People should think about it. And there was massive. There is a lot of history. Like even I can then account all the controversies that have happened and still ongoing. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up.
नहीं नहीं, एब्सोल्युटली यार. सो बायजूस यू नो regularly continues to feature in our news cycle as well. हर अभी तो मेरे ख्याल से काफी सारे प्रॉब्लम्स एक साथ आ रहे हैं उनके ऊपर. तो लेट्स सी हाउ दैट स्टोरी अनफोल्ड्स. आई थिंक अगले वाले में आज इस हफ्ते भी कुछ ना कुछ देयर वाज अ स्मॉल अपडेट, बट वी हैवंट केप्ट इट इन द ओवरऑल स्टोरी साइकिल. बट होपफुली नेक्स्ट वीक Pradeep, in case you know Pradeep and all, would love to probably have him on the show as well. तो उनसे भी बायजूस का एक हम सेक्शन करवा सकते हैं 5-10 मिनट का, बाइट around the book and how he did his research and all, because I think authors are fascinating people. They are one of the most well read, most well researched और सबसे ज्यादा detail oriented लोग होते हैं और अपने subject matter को in and out समझते हैं. So we I mean that'll be a very good this thing. अगर possible हो तो would love to probably get him.
I don't know him personally, but I think he's a good acquaintance, and I'm sure he'll be kind enough to give us his
बुला
15
लेंगे
20
सर
minutes.
इनको. Let's our team will try and
हाँ,
reach out. Let's see.
अच्छे इंसान है. ऐसे बोलने में शायद मान.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. With that, let's just move on to the cycle of news. यहाँ से हमारी इंटरेस्टिंग कहानी चालू होती है. थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी से फंडिंग न्यूज़ कवर कर लेते हैं. ये एंड ट्रैकर का ही डेटा है. So दो ये है यार. One is of course 11 to 16 December, 17 deals, 548 million का ओवरऑल फंडिंग हुआ है। द ग्रोथ स्टेज में 7, अर्ली स्टेज में 10। उड़ान picked up $340 million for a Series E. WeGrow, which is a B2B fruits marketplace that got in $46 million, is a micro lending firm which picked up $37.3 million. Plasma Gen, which is in biopharmaceuticals, they basically got in 27 million. Exponent Energy, which is in the EV charging space, rapid EV charging space, they picked up 26.4 million. Ether picked up 16.8, and Net Habit picked up $10.2 million. Early stage में मेरे ख्याल से there are one or two startups which are very interesting. One is Snitch, which is D2C bench पे, but मैं Agilitas को लेके ज़्यादा interested हूँ because they are in the athleisure fashion ecosystem. Right. So athletic, but for leisure. That's a very interesting space to be in actually. ये बहुत ही interesting space है. I would love to track and see how this company grows and probably this ecosystem के बारे में भी थोड़ा सा research अगर करे तो interesting रहेगा. Q&U Labs, which is in cybersecurity. Then there was GoAptive in health tech, Absolute Brands in the fashion lifestyle space, Simyog, which is in the EMI and EMC simulation, and then Originals, which is D2C hair extensions. These are the people who picked up funding. Um, in terms of cities, Bangalore में 10, Delhi NCR में 5, और बाकी थाने, बॉम्बे, बड़ौदा, हाँ, थाने नहीं, rather मुंबई, बड़ौदा, हैदराबाद एंड रायपुर 1 each. इसमें हमने बहुत सारे मेरे ख्याल से छोटे 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 मिस कर दिए हो. आई डोंट नो, हैव वी मिस्ड आउट ऑन एनीथिंग? So would love, I think, Kulmani, so have missed out on anything we can probably add on. Otherwise, we can move on to our main stories of the week. Did we miss out on anything? कुछ add करना है क्या? Kul sir, Kulmani sir. Kul and Kulmani. Wow. ये मैंने अभी notice किया. um, cool.
That's perpetually cool, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Mm.
कुछ कुछ मिस किए होंगे छोटे मोटे, unless and until they are very deviant. तो फिर we can move on. Probably हम in the startup news में
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
last में वैसे भी
So
हमारा एक section है.
most likely this data might have. Sorry, I spoke like if I not spoke way too quickly, you know. So I think in this data, you know, from like I can say like a few in undisclosed ones, we don't really undisclosed. We don't really publish it. It's like we don't know how much money they have raised, right? So
Yeah.
not, but not for we make exceptions, but not sure it has been like undisclosed fundings have not been included most likely in this, you know, how much money they raised, you know, so it becomes very difficult to calculate and give out number, like, you know, it becomes vague if we add those companies as well, and then we don't really know how much money they.
नहीं नहीं, ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. अम, जितना आ गया उतना काफी है सर. 80 20% of the news makes up 80% of the headline anyways. So unless and until we are missing out on something really significant, that's fine. और जो undisclosed है वो तो ठीक है सर. That's absolutely fine. ओके, मूविंग ऑन टू द टॉप न्यूज ऑफ द वीक. हाँ, तो मैंने इन्फ्लुएंस की जो बात की थी, आई टॉक्ड अबाउट द फर्स्ट वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट टॉप स्टोरीज इज समथिंग व्हिच इज कनेक्टेड टू इन्फ्लुएंस. दिस वन इज एक्चुअली वन ऑफ आवर टॉप स्टोरीज. ये ब्रेकिंग न्यूज है. आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एक्चुअली फॉलो द यूट्यूब इकोसिस्टम, बट दिस इज समथिंग fairly interesting which is happening right now. I'm assuming all of you guys know Vivek Bindra and Sandeep Maheshwari. Both of them are YouTube superstars. They are both in the um, motivation slash business domain. And Vivek Bindra basically has this program called Bada Business, which has an ARR of 150 CR, wherein he basically, it's a program in which they teach people how to do business. And in one of the shows of Sandeep Maheshwari, wherein he runs a kind of a show in which he has an audience in which they basically talk about certain topics, and he regularly gets some guests also for this show. In this show, Dr. Sandeep basically talked about indirectly. He talked about a person who runs a an MLM kind of a scheme in which people are asked to enroll for a program, and instead of teaching them anything, they try to convert them into salespeople for the same program, which is more of an affiliate. That's not technically an MLM, but it's an affiliate program. And this has kind of opened up a can of worms, because then Vivek Bindra tried to threaten Sandeep Maheshwari for legal action. And now I think Sandeep Maheshwari has started a campaign around, now talking very publicly about Vivek Bindra, what the problem is and all. And news stories are coming out about about how the people that Dr. Vivek Bindra was targeting were tier 3, tier 4 young kids, 18 to 25-year-old, who did not have money. He used to charge 50,000 to a lakh rupees for the program, and these people were not able to get any kind of an ROI. He used to tell them that he'll teach them how to make or double their money or increase their overall MRR, give them a money back guarantee, but never really gave money back, and almost drove these kids to suicide. Almost. I mean, allegedly, there have been people who have said that they will threatened this word, which we can't take. Um, and the reason why it's being featured as one of our top stories is because this is not a standalone case, and the size or the scale at which this was being done legally is what scares me, because a lot of people, this shows that a lot of people want to start businesses, but there are no right avenues through which people get the information or get the right kind of support for building these businesses. And instead of that, there are people who try to con them out of money and almost drive them to a brink of pushing them to do something really crazy. I mean, this is again a very generic and a broad story, but would want to take a little bit of feedback or opinions from you guys, Akash, Kul, Saurabh, Kulmani, about what do you think about this ecosystem where, I mean, right now, I think everywhere you go on Instagram, people are trying to sell you courses with videos of them standing beside, Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And there is no rule against it. Right? I mean, until it's innocent until proven guilty, I think that's the way it goes. That people are actually conning people who want to start businesses out of their money. What's your thought on this?
I think this is, I mean, I don't know specifically about them because I've not followed them, but the closest case which happened before this comes to my mind was about, let's not take the name of the university, but there was a university in
Oh
NCR which
yeah,
was
the choti wala guy.
yeah, 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 very famous, and they used to charge 20, 30 lakhs, I think, probably 10 years back. And then
Yeah,
I think the Supreme Court had to intervene, and they were not even affiliated.
yeah.
Uh, so I think two things. One is that India is such a almost like a continent, and we have several countries within this country. Uh, so everybody has certain kind of, always finds an audience. So there will be always people you can go after and you can build. Um, but yeah, I think there is some credibility issue here in terms of what it does and what they're selling or what they're peddling. So uh, I've noticed a lot of digital marketing, etc., around this YouTube ads. But I don't think you can regulate this. It's just there. I don't think we can do much except bringing more awareness and discussing it. but I don't think there is any way you can, you know, control it, etc.
Hmm. Hmm. Saurabh sir, anything which you think? Because yeah, this is not a standalone case. This will not be the last case also. इसका awareness is the only solution, right? I mean, मेरे को भी वही लग रहा है. What is your take on this, Saurabh?
As Kalmani said, I think this is not isolated case because even if you look at, let's say, a lot of small time influencers in different kind of categories, or even service providers, or probably let's say the startup mentors, right? So a lot of those guys who come into the system, they don't have the right skill sets, they don't deliver, they take the payments and then just vanish. And we also face issues once we get into the market about, let's say, these not so good vendors or influencers for that matter, right? So yeah, it's more about awareness because this is so rampant. Obviously, this is like a large case because both of them are, let's say, known in the known faces and things get escalated. But at a small level, there is a lot of, I think, this kind of issues is coming in the system.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है यार कि इट्स आई थिंक कुलमणि सर इट्स यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट आई डोंट नो रेगुलेशन वाइज इसमें आप क्या कर सकते हो बिकॉज चीजें बहुत सब्जेक्टिव है इसमें इनोसेंट अंटिल यू आर प्रोवन अ कॉन मैन टिल द टाइम nobody comes out and it's actually proven ki this is a wrong this thing there are enough loopholes in the current system that people will exploit it and I think uh, Arindam's story or Arindam's Chaudhary's story is actually a classic example of how he conned it and he actually almost pushed it through until unless the government intervened. The cycle, and it's a very interesting story. We shall probably cover it in one of our story times. The Arindam Chaudhary's story. It's a classic case where Shah Rukh Khan was the brand ambassador of of a dubious university which was not even accredited but used to have the biggest ads on the biggest of newspapers and then would give out info advertisements and then quote those advertisements to say that hey we got published here. There's a very interesting marketing strategy which that guy had. But yeah, I mean, I think the answer here is awareness. There is not much to do about it, and I think we'll have to weed them one at a time. Um, moving on to actual startup news. I think one of the first stories which I want to talk about, and I think यहाँ पे आकाश सौरभ कुलमणि सौरभ सर आपका तो मेरे को definitely इसमें input चाहिए. Um, I think the the firing trend is kind of escalating in the startup ecosystem right now. In 2 years, more than 35,000 job cuts have happened. In the past week, and this is not even a month, past week, ShareChat has fired 200 employees. Udan has fired 120 employees after a fundraise. And same happened with Third Wave Coffee. They raised 35 million and they basically cut 10%. So a lot of these answers are, I mean, what people are basically saying. And I think no broker has announced that they have got a zero burn month. November was a zero burn month for them because of restructuring and everything. The answer which people are saying is they're restructuring their overall workforce for optimizing for profitability. But is there, I mean, the way I look at it, is firing the right weight? I mean, I don't want to get into the morality of it, but whenever you're looking at any kind of, I mean, whatever these companies going through is cutting costs. When it comes to cutting costs, usually hiring and firing, is it a regular kind of a trend, or are there other ways also to circumvent this? Because one of the stories of the startup ecosystem is job generation, and a lot of people with a lot of dreams actually work their asses out in these companies, and then they're one day, without any fault of their own, they're asked to let go. Uh, so what's your take on this?
From my side, I don't know. I feel these things are again getting blown out of proportion Because in case we talk about what 35,000 jobs over last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
This is not, I don't know, I don't feel this is not even a news because we worked in large companies, right? And this happens on a good day, not on a bad day, because there is a churn which you need to do in your workforce. Now, when I look at past weeks, right, you say that Udan fired 120 employees, right? That's insignificant number, right? So it's just because Udan had let go X number of guys, right? You do restructure certain, let's say, divisions. And let's say we ran companies which had about 2,500 employees, right? So every 6 months we used to do our performance appraisal and we had to actually let go non-performers, right? So this number doesn't even seem significant to me for a large company. So 35K in 2 years is nothing like that you can talk about. That happens in regular organizations. And we are talking
Mm.
about the whole ecosystem. And when we talk about job generation, it's much more about that. When we talk about, let's say, TCS, Wipro, or something, right? So it's more about they're hiring 10,000 employees and they're letting go 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is, right? So that's a normal cycle which is happening in the whole ecosystem. So I don't know. I don't feel this is something like, unless it's a large firing at one organization, it's normal cycle.
So you're saying they're just trimming out the NPAs right now.
NPS, sometimes you actually hire employees to do a new division, right? Now that new division doesn't work. Right now, there would be two reasons why that doesn't work. Either the product is not good or the sales is not good. Now, in case you're trimming down that division, I'm again not saying that the employees are at fault, but obviously there are certain guys who did not perform because of which that division did not work out, right? It could be the problem of the CEO, it could be the division head. Because I have met certain guys from large companies who said that they had been laid off, but guy, you were the sales head of that company. If that company is not doing good, it's your responsibility.
Hmm. Valid point. This is a very valid point. Um, Akash.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the point mentioned was like very, very apt, right? What I also seen is that one of my like basically friend, he has also raised some money. So lately, what is happening is that when you are basically trying to raise the next round, right? So the people who have put in the money, they have basically certain expectations for the burn rate, right?
Hmm.
So that is also basically put it in the term sheet. So like this is actually happening a lot that after the funding round there will be some kind of restructuring just to make sure that we match that number of the burn rate. So that
Hmm.
is happening 100%. I think the bigger issue what I see is that lately, so I have some friends who are still basically like doing PhDs and masters and all, and what I see that the hiring rate in basically tier one as well, that is very very low. So in IT is also only basically 70% of them are placed. That's a very big number, I would say, and that's a bigger worry, I would say.
So you're saying that there are not enough jobs for the kind of profiles that people are studying.
Exactly. So that is happening, and the kind of basically the money what they like what was offered till last year, and the money or the options what they have right now is like very very less as compared to last year. I think that's a slightly more, I think, worry, I would say.
हम्म, नहीं बट आई थिंक अगर आप वैसे देखोगे ना तो इंडिया में तो कभी भी आपको रिसर्च रिलेटेड जॉब्स की उतनी ज्यादा भरमार नहीं थी. आई थिंक वी हैव देयर इज अ ह्यूज मिसमैच in what we are taught and what we actually work on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
what you're saying is absolutely right. But what I mean by tier one, right? So tier one, if you see IT, right? IT is like by day 6 or day 7, right? Almost like 90% of the people will get placed. And if you see, it's almost the month, and even 60% guys
hmm,
got placed. And earlier, like till
hmm,
last year, it was basically 100% placement and all. I think this year it will be very very difficult for them to reach that number. So I think that is
hmm.
a bigger worry.
It's a valid point. मुझे तो यही लगता है यार कि आई मीन आई थिंक आई एम कन्विंस्ड आई मीन इट्स अ आई हैड नॉट थॉट in that way, at least जो सौरभ sir ने बोला, uh, that I think this is something which happens in a startup. There's, I mean, this is a usual BAU, that hiring and firing will continuously happen. There are divisions which are being opened, there are divisions which are being closed. Sales does not happen. The company has to survive. And I think if you are somebody who has the right kind of skill set, more often than not, you will find a replacement, or rather a different job for your skill set. And I think now the global ecosystem has also opened up. There are global opportunities as well. Instead of people
Right.
sitting and talking about the fact कि यार मेरे को नौकरी से निकाल दिया, I think people should continuously look for opportunities then for themselves. Is that the way it should be? Because इसमें दो चीजें आती हैं. एक और interesting ये है, and I think we are running short of time. Otherwise we would have spent a little bit more time on this, because इसमें कुछ कुछ चीजें हम इसमें इसमें वो वाला पैराडॉक्स भी आता है कि इसमें लॉयल्टी कहाँ तक फीचर करती है फिर, एंड परफॉर्मेंस वर्सेस लॉयल्टी वाली जो चीज होती है, दिल्ली वर्किंग मॉडल वर्सेस मुंबई वर्किंग मॉडल, आई कॉल इट. तो ये ये कहाँ पे ये करते हैं? हाँ सर, कुलमणि सर, प्लीज.
Saurabh just took a master class because this is called second level thinking, right? This is what we teach when people come for associate onboarding at McKinsey or BCG. Is basically look beneath the number. So when you say 35,000, then you compare it and break it down, decompose a statement into subparts and go to second level or third level. So that's why, sometimes reading news can be misleading because you will be looking at the problem from a very different way. So just wanted to highlight this. So thank you, Saurabh, for all the listeners and people who are watching to apply second level thinking on daily basis. When someone gives you fact or opinion, apply second level thinking. Yeah.
This is a very, very interesting data point, Saurabh sir. Thanks for that. Okay, moving on. um so ये दो कहानियां, there are two stories here. Both of these are attached to AI. Okay, so first is of Elon Musk. So Elon Musk's AI chatbot is finally launched. It's called Grok AI. It's in competition with OpenAI, with ChatGPT basically. It's available to X premium members who can pay 1,300 rupees a month. So it's launched in India now. 1,300 rupees a month or 13,600 per year. Um, Again, pricing parity is there. So what Grok distinguishes itself from the conventional chatbots is by providing witty responses. Classic Elon Musk. It has two modes of operation. There is a fun mode, and there is a regular mode, right? So Grok can answer queries that other known chatbots might have dismissed by leveraging real-time data from X. Because they have X, they are now training the module on the information which is available on real-time information, which is available on X, which becomes the USP for the regular bit. And of course, the classic Elon Musk twist is the fun mode, where you can actually have avatars and do witty this thing. This is the first news. The second news is Bhavish Agarwal is also getting into AI. So Bhavish Agarwal has now showcased an AI chatbot which is powered by Krutrim. Krutrim is something which it basically is one of those companies which is being built within the Bhavish Agarwal universe. They function very similar to the other open source LLMs such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, Meta's Llama 2, and Google's Bard. Krutrim AI claims to have built its AI models from scratch, having trained them over 2 trillion tokens and unique data points. This also has already picked up $24 million of debt funding from Matrix Partners already. Now, I wanted to discuss a little bit about the AI ecosystem here, because now we are looking at Elon Musk also jumping in. Google was already there in the space, and so was Meta. But again, Google, Meta, OpenAI, not that much of a differentiation. Now we are starting to look at, I think, one is, of course, Elon Musk's real-time data utilization for its LLM might have a little bit of a different use case than an open AI or a chat GPT. And we are also probably now starting to see vertical specific chatbots being built with the data points being of a certain specific industry or a certain specific domain. And that itself might be something which might be interesting. With that, I would love to take, inputs from Akash, Saurabh, Kulmani sir on the AI ecosystem, the way you people are seeing it grow. Because I think the way I look at it, this is still a very, I mean, imagine living in 2007 and seeing the iPhone being launched. We are at that stage right now in the chatbot ecosystem or in the AI ecosystem, the way I look at it. This is just the beginning. Um, but the way I envision it, I think at the end of the day is the game of the data set on which all these models are being trained on. And the differentiations will also come from those data sets. I think the way we'll look at it is probably find a certain company building a chatbot which is only specifically working on all the company reports and P&L databases which are available across the world, and then basically creating something specific only for consulting, specific only for HR, specific only for marketing, specific only for content, and then probably more and more deeper these things would happen. Yes, yes, Kalmuni sir.
I've been trying to learn and form my thesis around AI. Uh, just in simple terms, uh, I would say there are three legs, right? One is data, one is compute, and third is algorithmic innovation, right? This is how you could break down AI and how you could look at it. So on compute, you have players like NVIDIA and everyone. On algorithm innovation, you have CUDA and Llama. CUDA is again NVIDIA's language. Data is something where I think players like Twitter could have an edge. The problem is you don't know how much data you need to train a model so that it gets closer or it gets kind of closer to general intelligence. You don't know how much data you need, basically. So then you have concepts like synthetic data, where you create data sets and you train models. Or you also have this concept of self play, where AI sort of gets better by playing against without any
Against
human
itself.
feedback,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Right. So in the context window, if you have, do you know the context window is where we type on ChatGPT? There is a window, so that's called a context window. You can upload X number of characters, so there is a limit on the context window right now. You can't paste 10,000 or 20,000 words. So in the context window, below the context window, there's a thumb up and thumb down sign. If you have seen, so you're basically telling ChatGPT every time that whatever output has you have given us, it's good or bad. So it's getting trained every time. Self play eliminates that as well. So in future, AI will not need this input. So you will have all three players. So data, compute, algorithmic innovation, all three kind of players now will come. So from data, I gave you Twitter is classic example, someone who has a lot of data. Compute, players like NVIDIA, anybody else who is making chips, they have their own language. The only difference between CUDA and Llama is that CUDA is not open source. I think Llama is open source. That's the difference. And then you have algorithmic innovation. You have players like Google, everybody, Facebook. So all three kind of players will continue to jump in. Uh, Vertical, yes, there are a couple of other, you will find more examples in the valley. You can follow like A16Z, what kind of companies they are investing in, etc., etc. So there are plenty of people who are doing vertical cases. So that is my overall understanding that data, compute, and algorithmic innovation, these are three pillars which we need to look out for. This is where innovation will happen. Synthetic data, self-play, probably the next thing. And about Kritrim, I don't have much to say. I don't know I mean, how can now it's become a fashion, right? Founders building three. I think last call also, last meeting also, we were discussing this that uh, probably it comes down to personality type, right? So
Yeah.
Elon has been running like three, four companies. Same with Mr.
Yeah.
Bhavesh. He's also in energy in a way, energy efficiency,
Yeah.
and now he's doing this. So don't know. Probably his investors know better. All I know that he raised a big round for this also, right? 24 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Matrix.
also debt. He raised
Yeah.
debt round. So interesting.
इक्विटी नहीं छोड़ेंगे एआई वाले में
I don't know how much interest he's paying. Probably 20% or what. I don't know.
Yeah. नहीं
But
मतलब एआई
interesting.
में
So
तो
yeah, data compute and algorithmic innovation. These are the three pillars we should think about. Just narrow down and then think what is happening on these three fronts. And people who have either of this will have leverage on everybody. So
yeah.
anybody who has a lot of data, like Twitter, Facebook, Aadhaar in India, anybody who has data is probably going to be ahead. And
Yeah.
similarly,
Yeah.
compute and good, coding language.
Yeah. इसमें आकाश का भी इनपुट आकाश तो डेटा साइंस पे आकाश
Hmm.
क्या है भाई व्हाट इज योर टेक
Hmm. Yeah, I can speak for an hour on this. I mean, so yeah, let's start with the thing, right? I mean, let's start with the first news, which is the Grok AI, correct?
yeah
So yeah, so they have the data, right? So just to basically explain you, right, how basically this like this chat GPT is trained. It is basically trained with two layers, right? First layer is that what you do is that you just take the Wikipedia data and make the model learn it. The second layer is the place where it is the most important, which is the fine tuning. So what happens is that with basically Chat GPT, what the company did is that they took a very good data of chat and then fine tuned the large language model with basically that data. Now the thing is, now if Grok basically tune it with the Twitter data, right? First of all, it is not very similar to the basically the data on which actually Chat GPT is trained. That is the first thing. Now the second problem, right? How basically ChatGPT was trained that the data was extremely clean and extremely good. With Grok AI, the problem is the data on the Twitter. There is lot and lot data, but you don't know what is the good data, what is the bad data. And if you give bad data to the model, then the output of the Grok AI will not be good. And if you see right now also all the research papers when it comes out, it actually never compare the output with Grok AI because of this reason, because the data what they use is not very good to actually make something out which is good right now. So but of course that is the state right now. Not sure what will happen in the future. So but right now their bot is not good as compared to basically
mm-hmm.
chat GPT and stuff because of the data. The fine tuning data has to be very very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first case. Now the basically second news, which is the artificial intelligence. So that is, so the thing is here, if you see the what is the interesting thing here, what they have done. See, most people what they do is that they will take the base model of the large language model, which is basically which means that which is trained on Wikipedia data, and then they basically fine tune it on the use case what they want to build. But what these guys have done is that they have created their own data, which is not Wikipedia data. So that is very interesting to me, that how they got that much data to train on vernacular. That will be very very interesting to know for me, because building that base model is extremely hard as well.
हम्म एक तो ये बोल रहे हैं कि द केपेबल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग प्रॉम्प्ट्स इन 22 डिफरेंट इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस सो दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग तो वर्नाकुलर एआई की तरफ ये मूव कर रहे हैं एंड दे आर बेसिकली सेइंग दैट underwent training over 2 trillion tokens specific to Indian languages, right?
Exactly. So how they found these 2 trillion tokens, right? That is very very interesting to me, because
Mm,
I mean, for now I think what we have always known that the data which is used to train the model the base model was always Wikipedia corpus, and then there
Mm,
is this like Stack Overflow data, some data which is basically open source. But how they found these 2 trillion tokens of Indian vernacular, and they tuned the base language on that. That will be extremely interesting to know from where they actually got this data.
this is interesting.
And
Well,
the basically third point I wanted to mention about the self play part. So I think yeah, so some people are trying with self play, like self play. The problem with self play is that there is something. The basically problem with this model is something called as hallucination. So if
mm,
basically something is not real, right? At that time also they will the bots will say those things with so confidence as if that is true. So that is exactly the problem with the false play. If you basically teach the bot right like wrong thing, then of course the output will be wrong. So that is one part where basically some of the guys are basically trying to use self play, but this is a very big issue to train it with self play.
Yeah, but that can be useful if you are using that bot to create art, because in that moment of hallucination, it could give you something which can be creative or out of the box, as we say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, then what you're saying is absolutely right. It actually depends on the domain. What I basically mean to say is that it might work in the domain where there the regulations and everything is less. But at the same time, let's suppose if you want to use somewhere in basically pharma domain or something, that might be risky. But that is absolutely right. I mean, if you want to use in a domain where you want some kind of randomness, yes, then basically self play would be the best thing to basically do that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
इसमें एक और इंटरेस्टिंग न्यूज़ है इस बिट की कि द स्टार्टअप प्लान्स टू इन्वेस्ट इन चिप डिजाइंस sustainable cloud infrastructure, innovative models for various infrastructure. This is this. Agarwal highlighted the importance of designing their own silicon chips for efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable data centers with the expectation of having their own chip by 2025. So this is also a very interesting bit. हाँ कुलमणि sir.
Not sure then why has he taken debt of 20 million if he wants to do get into this capex uh, kind of thing. Would be
Yeah, I
interesting
think it's a
maybe.
long term. I think it is a
Yeah.
long term plan because I mean, like you mentioned, right? The CUDA which is built by NVIDIA, right? That is the moat of theirs, which is highly optimized. I
Hmm.
mean, maybe if they will make the chip, then they will also try to make something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Which is
Nvidia, by the
CUDA, but
way, I
I
mean,
highly doubt. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
Nvidia has been around since 1993, guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just
Yeah.
reading about their history and
Crazy story, yeah.
how,
I
Nvidia has a
yeah, it's
crazy
crazy,
story.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I started from Qualcomm, so my background is actually hardware only. So yeah, I know them, know basically NVIDIA like how the architecture is built and everything. Yeah, they have
Yeah,
built it very nice. I mean, absolutely nice.
it's amazing. It's amazing how, I mean,
Cool.
everyone realize potential. Yeah.
I think for the interest of time थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी कर लेते हैं अब ठीक है सो ज्यादा मेरे ख्याल से दो तीन न्यूज हाँ तीन चार है यार अभी भी जल्दी जल्दी करना पड़ेगा ओके सो मूविंग अ लिटिल बिट फास्टर बिकॉज आई थिंक ये हमारी डिस्कशंस एंड सर आई यूज्ड टू टेल यू दिस राइट कुलमणि की आर दीस कॉल्स यूज्ड टू गो ऑन फॉर 3 hours नाउ यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड so okay, so the next news is SoftBank is continuously now, its stake sale continues in India. Policy Bazaar maybe they basically offloaded 1.14 CR shares worth 914 crores. This is their second big sale, which has happened after Zomato. And this is, I think, iske saath saath Alibaba is also basically dumping shares in all of its companies and moving out of India. ये अगर मतलब this is I am looking at as a trend in which all the bigger companies who had been either holding stake for the longest period of time in India are now basically exiting the bigger ones. So इसमें दो चीजें हैं. The trend which I am seeing here is the Chinese and the Japanese companies are slowly trying to reduce their footprint in India. And the reason why I'm saying this is अगर ऑफलोड के साथ साथ अगर इन्फ्यूजन भी होता रहता, if there was an infusion also which had been happening along with this offloading, that would have shown that there is, that they are just trying to shift the resources from here and there. But right now there is a lot of offloading which is happening, very less infusion which is happening. um so I think, Saurabh sir, if you're available, what's your take on this bit? सौरभ सर शायद AFK हो गए हैं. अच्छा. Kulmani, any take on this for you, from you?
No, I'll have to do some second level thinking. I haven't looked under the hood why
हाँ.
if there is a trend and what has happened. So can't comment, but not sure what do you mean by infusion is not
मतलब नए स्टार्टअप्स
uh,
में पैसा डालना,
hmm.
that is not
But the
happening.
weekly deal activity is almost at the same level, right? Over last
I'm not talking about
quarter
the
or
macro trend. I'm talking about SoftBank and all of these
okay, okay.
specific companies.
Hmm.
I'm talking about these individual behemoths. They are not investing in newer startups. They're basically now kind of offloading their shares. Had these companies been doing both sided transactions, that means this is business as usual. But if there is only one side happening, then that shows कि slowly they
Yeah,
are trying to pull out.
yeah. Maybe Kul can add more to this because
कुल
they may be
आज साइलेंट
covering.
स्पेक्टेटर, इसलिए मैं कुल को खींच नहीं रहा हूँ.
Okay,
But
okay.
Saurabh sir is back. Hello. This is a story which pertains to your domain. So basically, what we were debating here is SoftBank has sold its stake in Policy Bazaar, right? And this comes after they basically offloaded the shares from Zomato. And Alibaba also, we had spoken about in our recent weeks that they are also offloading this thing. So what my take was that there is a lot of offloading happening. There is not a lot of infusion in newer startups happening from these companies or these firms. So my take is probably they are trying to reduce their footprint here in India. What is your take on that, Saurabh? Mute पे हो सर आप. Yeah.
Yeah. So currently, I think the inflow has actually gone down in investments from, let's say, a couple of these large players. It's not even just an India phenomenon because once you look
हाँ.
at globally, the deal flow for them is going down. Secondly, as an investor, when you are running funds, right? So you are picking up money from someone and telling them that you will be providing them returns, right? Now, SoftBank like form, which is like almost the last investor before the IPO. So once the company has done the IPO, these guys need to necessarily exit at some point of time because they're not public market players like a hedge fund where they can now bet on policy bazaar shares because it's anyway in the market, right? So these guys need to take out money from listed companies and then return the money to their LPs and then
Hmm.
raise new
Oh,
funds for their next fund and invest in the new ones. So this is
interesting.
now a policy bazaar or a Zomato is now a mutual fund slash hedge fund play, not a private equity play.
Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. I'll take a pause here and I would request all of you guys who are either listening in or also in the Zoom call to please go and like the YouTube video and subscribe if you have not already to our YouTube channel. I'm putting the link here and we'll quickly move on to the next one. I'm doing this in the middle of the event because otherwise end में लोग भूल जाते हैं और लोग भाग जाते हैं. तो हम जल्दी जल्दी कर लेंगे. ठीक है? If you guys can. And I'll move on quickly to the next story. ये this is something which we had discussed. ये मेरे ख्याल से इसको लास्ट में लेते हैं अगर हमारे पास टाइम बचा तो. I want to talk about Striker. So this is a company which was backed by MPL, co-founder Krishna Mohan. It was in the fantasy. It was a Web3 fantasy gaming platform. Double whammy था इनके लिए. but they basically shut down operations. Now, the reason why this is interesting, or the reason why this is important, is because the primary reason is because of the 28% GST hike which happened. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is the 28% GST, any which ways, I think the gaming ecosystem, because of the ban of BGMI, had suffered quite a bit. I still don't understand why the government is going behind gaming so aggressively. Because technically this 28% GST is a death nail for a lot of gaming startups who had been doing fairly well operating within the margins. So number one is how difficult or what's the situation there, and number two, what can actually be done about it. For people who are already operating in the gaming ecosystem, is there a different model which they need to be focusing on? Because the current models would technically become defunct because it's a long process. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just wanted to just point out this gaming thing. It's just not any gaming. It's just games with skill-based, so-called skill-based games with real money involved, right? The GST is not on like say someone playing Counter Strike or all these kind of things, right? So now if you look at now you separate these things, then you have like clear understanding what government is trying to do and what is not trying to do, and of course the industry is going to be impacted. But then if you look at the kind of things, the gray areas, it has been like and things that in a way I thought like the government after imposing the tax, it might have like uh, given like more or less formalized the space instead of outrightly banning. You've seen how crypto has no future, right? It could have also gotten banned in India, right? Such things, but I think so. That is my thought. Like I thought that the distinction should be made here.
Maybe one. Will- Are you- Hello. No doubt. Yeah. Oh, oh, okay. That is probably that. And me. Hello. Uh, Let me back. Give me a minute. Hello. 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 Can you guys hear
Much
me now?
better. Well,
अरे यार नेटवर्क अब पंगा हुआ. Okay, I'm really sorry about this. Uh, but let me try and share my screen. This is the last news, and then we'll close off. I'm really sorry. थोड़ा लंबा खिंच गया. We'll again do a little bit of rejigging of time. Can you guys hear me now properly? आवाज आ रही है?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
ठीक
we
है.
can see.
Cool, cool. I'm really sorry about that. Um, so basically, what I was saying was Razorpay Cash Free and Open up finally got an approval from the RBI to operate as payment aggregators. This has been a major issue for Razorpay for the past 1 year, where they were not able to onboard new merchants and their businesses suffered. We in the Builders Club have also faced major issues. The founders which have been working within the ecosystem, we have looked at alternatives of Razorpay for helping the bidders in the club also. So Stripe has come out as a good option. We were actually looking at Cashfree also, but then we realized Cashfree is also was also facing the same problems. But this is a number one, of course. Congratulations, Shashank, in case you're watching this on getting this. Hopefully now the onboarding journey would be a little bit more seamless. My interest is on Open. So Open is a very interesting fintech play, and they also, along with Razorpay and Cashfree, are now getting into the payment aggregator space. I wanted to take a little bit of feedback from you guys on number one, the story, and number two, on Open in general, in case you people have any thoughts on this, because I think Open is one of those spaces which started off as a invoicing or an accounting layer on top of ICICI bank accounts. They basically piggybanked on ICICI customers' data and basically created their overall dashboard. And now they're also getting into the PA space, focused purely on the SME, and their offerings are in general focused on the SME ecosystem. For me, I think the PA license for Open is a much bigger story than the Razorpay and the cash free one. What is your take on this, Kulmani, Saurabh and all?
Let Saurabh comment on this first because I think their portfolio is fintech heavy.
Acha. Saurabh sir.
This one, actually, I haven't followed this story, but PA license would be a good one for Open because obviously they are pretty large already, as you said. And but I think something like Razorpay and Cash Free, once they start onboarding, because a lot of our portfolio companies were also facing tons of
Yeah,
issues,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm assuming that would have impacted their business to a large
बहुत
extent. So
बहुत yeah. I think 2024 they are again starting their marketing because I think for the past one and a half years they had kind of dipped down. In fact, their current customers were also facing a lot of issues. Onboarding तो पूरी बंद हो गई थी, from what I know. But I think 2024 is the time when they'll start to do a lot of marketing also. Once they, once now that things are getting formalized, we'll see a lot of Razor Pay around in events, in ads. And hopefully, let's see how things go. Akash, you have any take on this?
Not really. Don't know like much about Open, but yeah, Razorpay and cash free. I think it's a good thing for them to get this thing. This is what.
Hmm. Kulmani, आप म्यूट पे हो सर.
Hmm. So I know the pain because we were trying to get a payment gateway around middle of the year, around May, June, and it was a challenge. And I think one of the days I made the list of all the payment gateway providers in India, and I think most of them were not uh, onboarding merchants at that time. I'm talking June, June 2023. But thankfully, AirPay, which is I think Kalari Capital's portfolio company, I had a very good experience with them. So we use AirPay.
Oh,
They
very
were very
nice.
transparent. Yeah. So AirPay was able to onboard us, and we've been using them for last 5 6 months. It's very sort of smooth. But I think one of the reasons they were under scrutiny is also because of this betting and online transactions, which are not, uh, tracked. So at that point, one of the
Crypto. Crypto was
crypto,
the.
crypto, crypto and betting both. So one of the managers at one of the leading companies told me that this will not happen till IPL and World Cup is over, because regulators know that that is the prime time when these payment gateways are going to be abused and misused. So this was indirectly very clear to me that, and that experienced person told me this will not happen till that time. World Cup is over, IPL is done, then this will happen. So same thing happened. So you're right. But AirPay,
Interesting.
I'm
You happy
very
with
happy with
Airpay?
AirPay. Good experience. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, shout out to
Is
Airpay.
it? Yeah.
सही है मुझे नहीं पता था यार. I didn't know about Airpay. I got to hear about them today for the first time from you. We'll have to check them
Yeah,
out
yeah.
now. Good experience.
Yeah. Good experience and very responsive team. I think their team is mostly in Mumbai. And the onboarding was very predictable. They were able to define the timelines. They told us that if you don't mess up the document and if you're cooperative, this is when you will get it. And I got it exactly that time.
Hmm. Cool. Moving on to the last story, and we'll probably not do much discussion around this. Adda 24/7 backer Asha Ventures closed its maiden fund. They have now fund one. They're focusing on fintech, healthcare, climate change, agriculture. Uh, they basically got their funding. They basically raised it from SIDBI, Self-Reliant India, which is a SRI fund, and a clutch of family houses. 50 million का fund है, and they're planning to invest 4 to 5 startups every year. Small news, important news, because one of the stories which we jumped was a lot of partners are quitting VC firms in India. Right from Urias, Lightbox, Streamride, बहुत सारी rejigging हो रही है, बहुत सारे छोटे स्टार्टअप अभी छोटे छोटे फंड्स बन रहे हैं which are focusing on the early stage now. But this is a story I think where any which is ran out of time, so I'll not prolong this, and probably we'll pick this up in the next week. um, is there any news which you guys think that we missed out on or which we should have covered? कुल I think आप मतलब अगर कोई ऐसी स्टोरी है जो आप मिस आउट कर गए हो which you wanna point out? कुल सौरभ कुलमणि.
Yeah, I think telecom bill getting passed was a big story.
Ah, interesting.
Um, it just changes the very outdated 1885 law. So and it's kind of keeps a lot of ethos from what existed, but it's very remarkable. Very groundbreaking whatever happens. Um, of course, you will see like different point of views.
Opinions तो
On
आते
how.
रहेंगे सर.
So this was like very interesting what the government has done. And so I think it will become law very soon, because this government is inching closer to its tenure. And before all this election time comes kicks in, they will try to, spread it all these things which have been pending for a while.
Mm, interesting. बिगेस्ट रिफॉर्म इन द सेक्टर इसको थोड़ा सा डिटेल में करेंगे हम होपफुली नेक्स्ट वाले वीक में ना इसको थोड़ा सा हम भी रिसर्च करके आते हैं ऑन द डिफरेंट ओपिनियंस एंड आई थिंक दिस इसके अलावा दिस इज अ गुड वन एनीथिंग कुलमणि डिड वी मिस्ड आउट ऑन या सारा कवर कर लिया
No, I think this is good. I think the one of the bigger things was about B2B marketplaces, which I think with Udan and WeGrow, both are B2B marketplaces, right?
या
So that was the
पैसा
theme, and
उठाया
they are,
अच्छा दबा के इन लोगों ने बी टू बी
yeah.
स्पेस इज एवरग्रीन सर मैं तो हमेशा बोलता हूँ धंधा बनाना है बी टू बी स्पेस में बनाओ it's much easier. You get your focus is much on servicing smaller set, but then you can do much more with them. Okay, with that, guys, we'll move on to the giveaway. So again, as we said, this is today's book is Influence, the psychology of persuasion. In case you people want to get a copy of this book, we're doing a giveaway of this. All you need to do is number one, subscribe to the Builders Club YouTube channel. Number two, leave a comment on your main takeaways or what stories did you guys think were the best covered in today's episode. You people can also do the same on any social media platform, be it on X or on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Just tag the Builders Club, and two of the lucky winners is going to get this thick book. ठीक है थोड़ा महंगी किताब भी है तो मतलब कर लेनी थोड़ी थोड़ी सी मशक्कत कर लो आप follow us on YouTube, leave a comment, tell us what was your takeaway from the show, and we'll see you guys again next Thursday 8:30 p.m. and yeah,